It is a pleasure to be with you. I love that video of my community. How about that open space? Is that not phenomenal? Yeah, it's amazing. I will tell you, it has one flaw this year. The wasps, and I mean the bugs, they are afoot. And I have suffered my 15th sting this year, just Saturday. So granted, I got 10 in one day, but that's not here nor there. I think they don't like the brand of bike that I ride. Anyway, I thought a lot about what I wanted to say to you as president of the league and as a fellow mayor and a former city council member. I had an opportunity, like probably a lot of you, to go to Constitution Day this last week. And I was invited by the school district to come to our high school. And honestly, I didn't really want to do it. It was 7:30 in the morning. I really wanted to ride. But I thought, well, I'm the mayor. I better go to Constitution Day. And I do like the Constitution. I work in it every day. So I went. And it wasn't really, they did some singing and talked a little bit about the Constitution. But where the meeting turned profound for me was they had a little breakout session at the end of some of the singing and talking. And these young kids that are student government kids, bright, smart, young minds that care, they got around me. And oddly enough, they know who I am. And these young kids got around me, and they essentially delivered this message to me. They looked at me and they said, Mayor, can you give us some hope about our country? These are 16, 17-year-old kids. Can you give us some hope about our country? We don't know what to believe. We've got social media coming at us at every direction. We don't know what to trust. What do you think about America? Now, how many of you would like to get asked that question? Fortunately for me, I have a lot to say about America. And it struck me. Now, I consider myself a spiritual person. That might shock some of you. So think on that for a minute. But what those kids said to me, it was profound. And it actually kind of moved me, stirred something in me. Because here are these young people asking me, they weren't giving up. They just wanted to know what it looked like, what I thought it looked like. I'm 58. I've been doing politics in Draper, Utah this is my 18th year. And they were asking me, and I thought, man, I'm glad I came to this. I looked at these kids, and I said, listen, America is it. You are the future, and this country is bright. I said, there is nothing to fear. But I thought a little bit about the word hope, because they asked me about hope. One of the definitions of hope, according to Oxford, is a feeling of trust. A feeling of trust. That's powerful. That's what we're looking for, really. We're looking for people to trust. We're looking for leaders to trust. We're looking to trust each other. We're looking to have each other's back. We're looking to believe in each other. And that's the basis of hope. And I looked at these kids, and I tell you, I could feel this energy, and it was exciting because they were cool. And I said, listen, I want to tell you about a story. I'm a war buff and history buff myself, and I just read a book by S.C. Gwynn. Have you ever heard of him? Called The Hymns of the Republic. He wrote a book called The Empire of the Summer Moon, and he wrote a book called Rebel Yell. But The Hymns of the Republic, it's about 1864 through the end of Lincoln's term. And there was a story in there that struck me in that book, and I told it to these kids. There was a fort on the western edge of Tennessee against the Mississippi River called Fort Pillow. Anybody ever heard of Fort Pillow? See a hand out there? I hadn't either. Fort Pillow was an insignificant Union fort, meant nothing. It had been taken by the Confederacy and taken by the Union. It really meant nothing. But on the morning of April the 12th, 1864, Nathan Buford Forrest, Major General of the Confederate Army, with 2,500 Confederate soldiers, surrounded Fort Pillow, killed the commanding officer, and told the remaining garrison of 600 Union soldiers that he's going to storm the fort in 20 minutes, and they needed to surrender. He did. He kept his promise, stormed the fort 20 minutes later, about 3:30 in the afternoon. And when we got in there, they surrendered. Of these 600 garrison soldiers, 300 of them were black Union soldiers in Union uniforms. This sent Forrest into a fit of rage. And Forrest didn't take their surrender. He killed these 300 black soldiers. He didn't just kill them. He went medieval on them. He disemboweled them. He did some other things to their bodies. It was horrific. In fact, it's one of the worst crimes committed in warfare ever. That Battle of Fort Pillow that none of us have ever heard about. Well, why did I tell the kids about Fort Pillow? And I'll tell you why. Because they were stressed about all the information that comes at them. And they said, it comes at us so fast. We don't know what to believe. We don't know how to manage it. It's never been like this. I said, oh, yes, it has. It has been like this. April the 12th, 1864, the attack on Fort Pillow happens. 4 days later, the earliest version of TikTok that I know of, called The Telegraph, had that story on the Eastern Seaboard in the New York Times and the New York Post. And by May the 7th, the entire country knew the whole entire graphic details. And it was horrific details. It was similar to the stuff we see all the time today. And I said, the reason I'm telling you this is because this is not new. Horrific things have happened to Americans since the beginning. You heard this morning from General Washington till today. That's been the norm. It's not outside the norm. And I said, kids, this country is the best it's ever been, in my opinion. And I said, and the future is you. And since you're the future, I'm excited because you care and you want to be in charge. And I think it's tremendous. The image of Fort Pillow, as it got graphically displayed in the newspapers. Now, they didn't have video then, but it got graphically displayed in the newspapers. And it changed people. It changed the way a lot of people thought about black people. Even across the country. It changed the way a lot of people thought about the war, and it most definitely and importantly changed Abraham Lincoln's thinking. At that point in time, President Lincoln was fighting this war about keeping the Union together and that kind of thing. Fort Pillow was when it became about the barbarity of slavery and about the true union of this country. That's the pivotal moment for Abraham Lincoln. It changed him and affected him. I think about what happened last Sunday. People sitting in church, just doing their thing. And then this kind of thing happens, and we get this message. And I think these things should change us. These images that we see and these events, they should change us. But they should change us in ways that are positive. We should think to compassion. We should think to being colleagues. And we should think to getting along with each other. We, as leaders, as local leaders, where I said that rubber hits the road, it's our obligation, in my opinion, to help these young people see and understand that they are the future and that we have a great country. And it's great. You know, you think back, Abraham Lincoln dealt with some treachery. You think there's treachery going on now? Lincoln, he lived some treachery. I'm telling you, you can't even imagine it. Read a little bit about it. His own party, factions and his factions of his own party. Everybody was trying to work Abraham Lincoln. Everybody. And that man stood, and he finally prevailed in that great war. Do you know we lost 850,000 Americans in the Civil War? Fully 2% of that population at that time. If that was translated to today, that would be 6 million Americans. We've been through it in this country. We have been through some tough stuff. And this ain't this tough as what we've been through. Now, it's not great, and it's not easy. And the tragedies that have occurred are terrible, but we got to take that and we got to run with it into the future. And it's our job and our obligation to take these young people and teach them how great this country is and how great it can be if we will lead. And it's up to us to make the future. I mean, we know it, we do it. They need to know it, they need to feel it. And I told them, I said, the Constitution of the United States is in fact the place of hope. That rule of law concept, that is truly phenomenal. We are governed by ourselves, not by a king, not by a dictator, not even by a religious leader, but by that rule of law. And it sets us apart from the world, and it's fantastic. We have civil rights. I'll let my defense lawyer hat fall on me for a second. Like, for example, the right to keep your mouth shut. And you should. You should. The right not to be searched unreasonably or seized by the police. Those are civil rights that came from this document that has made this place peaceful and prosperous like no other place in history, like no other time in history, frankly. I don't think it's the worst of times, folks. I think it's the best of times, but we have work to do. We have a lot of work to do going forward. And as we lead in, I ran for office because I hate property tax. Now, how many of you have said that or thought that? Come on, raise your hands. You all hate property tax. You better. Anyway, I ran for office because I wanted low property tax. Dummy. I'm thinking, yeah, I'll fix that. So I get elected, and I'll be damned if we didn't raise property tax last year. Now, we went 17 years, but we raised property tax. And what I learned being elected, what you've all learned, is that those taxes, we don't raise them to take trips to France. We raise them to pay for firemen and fire trucks and police officers and paramedics and potholes and roads and open space and festivals and all the things that our community and our neighbors want. We look our neighbors in the eye every year when we do our budget, and we tell them how we're spending their money and why we're spending it that way. We take their input and we move forward. As you look at the concept of the rule of law and the concept of being able to make your own government, it is truly profound. Now, over my 18 years, and I know there are some of you out there thinking, what a dummy he is, and I am running for a fourth term. It's a whole nother discussion. I do need acetaminophen, I think, at this point in my political career. But in my 18 years, what I've learned and what has changed me has been working with you, working with my council members. I have a fantastic council of talented, intelligent, caring people that really want to make a difference in their community. That's why they're doing it. You do too. Those people are what are the joy and reward of public service, working together. There's nothing like solving a problem, and especially if it's a tough problem. If it's a problem you've had to battle maybe with people on your council and you've had to argue and hash it through. This compromise that the author talked about this morning, that's America. That's what we do. We learn how to make the right deal so that somebody and everybody gets something. We cannot let perfect be the enemy of good. That cannot be our mantra going forward. We have it in our power to take America wherever we want it to go. And it really starts locally. We are the ones, you think about the legislature or the United States Congress. I guess they're not working today. But you think about them. They don't fill potholes. They don't send somebody to someone having a heart attack. They don't send a police officer to stop a domestic assault or stop a robbery in progress. They don't do any of that. You do. You plan for that. You budget for that. You make that your priority, and you serve your people. And that's America. And that's where the real America is, and that's where the real America's got to be. We are the ones that are going to keep this country moving forward. And as you grab a young person, I encourage you, I challenge you to get out in your schools as elected officials. Go talk to the government teacher. Go talk to the history teacher. Get in there and tell them how your government works. The best thing you can do is take a tax notice to somebody and lay it out for them. My taxes last year were $741, my city portion. $741. I get cops that come right away. I get firemen that come really fast. I've even had the paramedics come before. I get potholes fixed. I got nice roads. I have all that beautiful open space. I got Draper days. I have amazing services and amazing opportunities for $741. Now, there's other taxes, I know, but we are where it works and where it counts. Now, the league, in closing, if you are worried or think this league is not doing what you want it to do, I've had people say the league needs to fight harder, or the league needs to be proactive and do more and lead out on some legislation. Let me tell you what, we do. We fight like the Dickens. I learned that this year as league president. The battles are up at the legislature, and we are in the fight. And we are effective as a league. Cameron Deal, Justin, Molly, Carson, Cassie, Katie, all of them, our team, they all have the big brain that he talked about. The ability to organize. Cameron Deal's got that Washington brain in his head. He's able to keep this thing all moving until we make decisions about capital, how much political capital we want to use on an issue, but we have your back as a league. We have your back. We take the issues that matter to all of us the most, and we work on them. We don't just fight dumb law, and there's plenty of that. We also propose ideas, and a lot of our ideas get in the bills. And those bills are all compromised, and you know that's what it is. We provide our services not at the behest of some lobbyist or some group trying to tell us this is what we do it because we know what our people need, and that's our job. So I just want to tell you that serving on the league board and having the opportunity to be the president of the league has been a great experience for me. It truly has. I don't want to do it again. That time at the legislature is frustrating, irritating, annoying, and then at the same time exciting, exhilarating, and great to see us be effective as local leaders in our state. It's great to see us matter to the policy of this state. It's great to see us matter as to the way the future shaped in this state, and it's coming from us. And so the service on the league board has been tremendous for me. I am grateful to my fellow board members who are outstanding people, talented, come from all political walks of life and parties, but they all care about one thing: making Utah the best place to live it can be, with the happiest citizens that it can have. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank Cameron for all that he's taught me. And I know he's younger than me, but he's taught me a lot of stuff. He's an amazing kid, and we're lucky to have him. And folks, I appreciate having worked with you and associated with you, and I thank you for the opportunity of worked and served in this capacity. Thank you.